What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitz Fantasy Football. My name is Ryan Linkletter. I'm here with Steven and Dean. We're talking fantasy football for you guys, and we're talking some of the biggest fallers in ADP from last season to this season, names you need to know and probably potentially avoid. We're not going to go that far just yet. It's too far away from the season for us to make those claims, but these are some names you need to potentially look at heading into next year that are significant fallers. Steven, we'll start with one of your guys. Marvin Harrison Jr. Tell us a little bit about Marvin Harrison Jr. and kind of where he's at from last season to this season.
Yeah, exactly. So Marvin Harrison Jr., we all know he came in last season in his rookie year. Probably the most highly touted wide receiver prospects of the past maybe 2-3 decades. He was literally being drafted 16th overall, so middle of the second, or early to middle second round as a rookie before taking a snap. He was going as the wide receiver 9 last year. And he finished as the wide receiver 30. He had some good games, some inconsistent games. Kind of disappointing for where you drafted him. Definitely disappointing for where you drafted him. But his rookie season feels worse than what it really was. And that's because he was overshadowed by his other rookie receivers who you could have drafted a couple rounds later, like Malik Neighbors, who's going to be a first-round pick this year, and a Brian Thomas Jr., who's going to be in the top half of the draft. Both those guys probably will get picked over Marvin Harrison Jr. that's coming into this year's draft. Right now, Marv's going around the 45th overall, about wide receiver 23, so mid to late fourth round pick right now. This is all still early before the draft, so everything's subject to change. But like I said, he's being overshadowed by Malik Neighbors, who had a fantastic rookie year, and Brian Thomas Jr., who had a great year. It's not out of the realm of possibilities that he outperforms both of them this year. I mean, just look at it this way. He really has league-winning potential. He's got a safe floor because he is the best wide receiver on the Cardinals. Yes, they have Trey McBride, who also is a pass catcher, but talent-wise, Marvin Harrison's their best pass catcher. So he really has a safe floor where you're going to draft him there. And he has league-winning potential to really just live up to his name and upside. And at 45th overall, mid-4th, I feel like it's definitely worth taking a swing on him there.
Yeah, and I think the most interesting part about the Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of, I don't want to say downfall, but that's what it feels like, is Harrison Jr. just didn't live up to a generational talent expectations, while two guys in his rookie class had really good seasons and they were very good fantasy options. Harrison Jr.'s biggest problem is he's tied to Drew Petzing. I am a anti-Drew Petzing guy as an offensive coordinator. He was very, I don't want to say anti-Marvin Harrison Jr. getting open targets, but he made Harrison Jr. work for it. The amount of contested catches and routes that Harrison Jr. ran that were not basically wide open was just too many for a guy that's a top option in the league, when we see Tyreek Hill schemed open a lot in Miami, or even like Jamar Chase. I don't know why I almost said Jamar Harrison, but Jamar Chase is schemed open as well. Like, you got to be able to scheme up your best guys. Now, heading into next year, now that we have probably Marvin Harrison Jr. where he should have been last season, I think the realistic expectation of him being a low-end wide receiver too makes a ton of sense. Like, that is what we're investing in. Trey McBride is the true cog of this offense. It goes through Trey McBride. Harrison Jr. can still live up to the potential. He could have 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. I think that would be great. If he can average 14 points per game, that would be great. A wide receiver too seems like it's ideally what we get out of Marvin Harrison Jr. Anything less, I would be shocked. Anything more, I would be ecstatic. I just think that his floor, like you mentioned, is very high. And I think he's perfectly priced right now where he's at and could potentially rise a little bit. And I'm not worried about it. I think he truly has solid wide receiver 2 potential with wide receiver 1 upside. He's not going to be inconsistent as he was in his rookie season. He's only going to develop a little bit more. Dean, let's talk about your next guy here before I have another voice crack. Breece Hall. What are you thinking about Breece?
Oh, man. Well, I fell victim to drafting Breece quite early last year in one of my leagues. I thought he was going to be the beast that we were all promised, as he was touted being running back 2 pretty much in last year's drafts. Now falling down his projections to finish this year as of today, running back 11. Pretty big fall for a guy that's supposed to be the lead back for the New York Jets. And I think the worrisome is that the reports before the NFL draft about possibly being a committee for Aaron Glenn's new offense. He also has a younger guy like Braylon Allen behind him. Even though he's still 23 years old, he seems to be slipping down into the draft projections here. It kind of scratches your head. I mean, always investing in a New York Jets, always scary stuff. But now to be paired with Justin Fields as his new quarterback could open some doors. I think Breece Hall is one of these guys that we kind of have to keep a close check-in to see how he's dealing with. I know there's been kind of some smoke screens about trade candidacies, but I can't believe that. And I'm not sure really who would trade for him anyway, especially after this crazy rookie draft class in the backfield. So Breece Hall, a little fall from grace, but that may be in the right space where he can be your RB1 surrounded by really good receivers if you're playing some PPR, right? Or he might be a great pairing for an elite running back like a Gibbs or Bijan heading into your 2025 fantasy seasons.
Yeah, and I think Hall's an interesting one for sure. We've heard about the trade rumors. We've kind of known that this could be more of a committee heading into this year. The biggest upside for him is that he's probably going to be more efficient with a running quarterback, which is good. And the offensive line can't get much worse than it was last season for New York. So 2 positives there for Breece. The biggest negative that really turns me off in half PPR and PPR leagues, the receiving upside's gone now. With Justin Fields at quarterback, he's not going to get any targets out of the backfield. It's going to be Fields running the ball, and he's still competing with a guy like Braylon Allen as well for targets. That is my biggest concern with Breece Hall in those formats. And for his current ADP, I'm out on him. I think he has to be lower priced. I think he needs to be between 16 and 20 for where his potential outlook is be. I think it'll be interesting to see where he winds up falling, but improved rushing efficiency, it's not enough to cover up the receiving Breece Hall that we all expected from him going forward. Steven, let's talk about your next guy, Michael Pittman Jr. How are we feeling about him with a quarterback that struggles to complete passes?
Yeah, so Michael Pittman Jr. He had a down year last year, and I partly don't want to put it all on Pittman. Like you said, his quarterback out there, Anthony Richardson, he was throwing tour dates out there. It was very inaccurate. He was completing under 10 passes a game. It was just there was not enough volume there for any receiver to succeed. And it's kind of a crowded wide receiver room. I mean, they got Alec Pierce. They drafted Adonai Mitchell last year, he was a rookie last year, and then Josh Downs as well. So there's 4 guys right there who should be on the field. And Pittman, he's the highest paid out of all of them. They paid Michael Pittman Jr. after his season 2 seasons ago. Pittman Jr., he had a down year last year. You drafted him 36th, around wide receiver 17, 18. It's probably your 3rd or 4th round pick. Did not live up to the expectations. And like I said, part of that's on his quarterback. He was also playing through a nagging back injury. I remember there was a time where he was going to be shut down for the year, and then he played that week. I mean, he was going to go on IR, and then he's like, no, I'm going to play through this injury. So he really showed out for his team, shows his toughness. And even after all this bad stuff, I think just where you drafted him leaves a bad taste in your mouth. He had over 800 yards. He had just under 70 receptions. That alone, that's kind of fantasy relevant. And he did not have really anything. The touchdown production was low. And it doesn't look great for that and to improve because Anthony Richardson's going to steal some touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor is who the offense should run through. They added Tyler Warren, so there's another pass catcher that they have to worry about. So the touchdowns, it's not much room to grow, but it definitely can. I mean, all you need is just one outlier touchdown season, and boom, there it is. And should go into next year healthy. He's still under a big contract, so they should be motivated to use him. He's a big body receiver. He's probably their best receiver. Hopefully they get better quarterback play. And where he's being drafted now, he's around wide receiver 46. So around like the 10th round ish. It's worth keeping an eye on. And if you need a receiver, he still should have at least flex value. Anything better than that, you're thrilled with.
Yeah, I think he's one of the guys that just because of his quarterback situation, it's a dart throw what you're going to get out of him. I truly think where his current value is, I like it. Like, I can get behind Michael Pittman being the highest paid player on the Colts offensive side of things. And, you say, hey, his touchdowns can't be that bad. Richardson can't be that bad, right? And even if Richardson is that bad, Danny Dimes has proven to, have solid wide receiver seasons in New York. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe Pittman is better with Daniel Jones down the stretch. And getting him at the end there, I'll have him as my wide receiver 4 on my team. I wouldn't mind that. So I think he is kind of working towards more of a value instead of kind of passing on him there. Dean, how are we feeling about a guy switching homes here? Cooper Kupp is heading to the Seahawks. Double slot receivers in Seattle. Do you think that's going to work out well?
Yeah, so let's be blunt. No, I don't. I think I'm pretty much out on Cooper Kupp, and it breaks my heart. I've been a Cooper Kupp believer. His Triple Crown year was a year that won me a lot of fantasy leagues. Last year, I took the chance on him, drafting him late. It looked so good until he gives me a goose egg in the playoffs. It's been such a toxic relationship between myself and Cooper Kupp, and I love him to death, but it is over. This pairing doesn't make sense. Listen, I love the Seahawks. They bring over and sign Sam Darnold, who slung that thing last year in Minnesota. It's great on paper, but the pairing just does not make sense with JSN, who I'm very high on. I love Jackson Smith and the Jigba, but like you just said, the pairing just doesn't make sense between these guys. So I really don't see a lot of field for either of them to get open. And listen, JSN's the younger one. He's the more attractive one, right? We're going to get him the ball. Cooper Kupp, old news, brother. Come in, teach us some, routes and timing, how you've learned over your career. But that's about it, okay? His ADP right now is about wide receiver 46. I don't want anything to do with him, okay? I'd rather take a long shot on a rookie, on some, high-powered offense, whatever it may be. But the Cooper Kupp days are over. Thank you for your service.
Hey, it's ruthless out here. We love a guy one year, and we don't like him the next year. That's fantasy football for you guys. Yep. I'm all out on Kupp too. I'm all out. I can't get back into him. Our next guy here and our final guy, Isaiah Pacheco for my Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Pacheco's an interesting case. Now, heading into the year, we were excited about his potential as a 3-down running back. We knew Jerick McKinnon was gone in this offense, and he started the year great. He had 2 performances that suggested he was going to live up to the hype of him being an early draft pick, potentially even sneaking his way into the RB1 category there as well. Injuries, that's the story for Pacheco last year. After his injury, he was not the same player. He wasn't as explosive. He wasn't as efficient. Didn't play any third downs. And now heading into next year, we've seen his ADP completely fall off. I think he's working towards more of a value. The Chiefs draft, I think, indicates that they believe Isaiah Pacheco was playing hurt last season and that he's going to be a better version of himself in 2025. They did get Brashard Smith, who I really like, a very good player from SMU and could be a sneaky draft pick for them. But them not investing more than a 7th-round draft capital, they only added Elijah Mitchell this offseason. They brought back Kareem Hunt, which he was really good for them as well. But even we saw towards the end of the year, he is best suited as a goal line back, short yardage back, limited touches. I think Pacheco could work into a role where he is back to 12 to 16 touches a game, being the Chiefs' lead guy out of the backfield. And I think that's going to be valuable this year. I think the Chiefs are going to have a better offensive line and a better down-the-field passing attack, which will only open up the ground game, which we haven't seen basically in 2 years in Kansas City. So I think Pacheco, if anything, is on the up, not the downs, even though his ADP's fallen. Do you guys think Pacheco is more of a value this year, or is his ADP just right?
I think he's more of a value. Like you said, he played last year. He went into the season he was supposed to be their workhorse. The offense was going to kind of run through Patrick Mahomes, and then Patrick Mahomes was going to lead on Pacheco. And an injury derailed what was going to happen. He came back late in the season, and the Chiefs were a team. Obviously, they're competing. Were competing for the 1 seed almost all season. So it wasn't like, all right, Pacheco's back. Let's just focus on working him back into the offense. They had to compete. They had to do what was best for their offense at the time. And I don't know, like you said, maybe he was playing hurt or whatnot. This year, he's going to be coming back healthy. They didn't add any big names or spend big draft capital to replace him, which shows they still believe in him, at least for this next upcoming year. And if he proves and gets healthy and gets back to what he showed in the beginning of last year and at the end of the season prior, where you're getting him, that's a fantastic steal. So I am all in on Isaiah Pacheco this year.
Ryan, I think you kind of talked me into it a little bit. Looking at some of these ADPs right now and kind of the guys he's grouped around. You have a Jalen Warren, a Tyron Tracy, DeAndre Swift. These are kind of guys I think I would probably take Isaiah Pacheco over. That backfield for the Chiefs has, you thought Pacheco was the answer, especially with 2 seasons ago down the stretch for that Super Bowl run. Like, he was the guy, right? And, you may have a point with there was probably a nagging injury last year because they didn't bring anyone in. Like you said, Elijah Mitchell, Kareem Hunt, they didn't invest a lot into it. So the belief there is still going through Pacheco for an Andy Reid offense. And I'm always going to have stock in an Andy Reid offense. So definitely somebody to look later and not give up hope for heading into 2025.
100%, folks. And there are 5 guys whose ADPs have slipped. Who knows? Could be values, could be busts. And that's why we're talking about it here. Let us know down in the comment section below if you have another player that we missed that's ADP has slipped a little bit from last season. If you're interested in more Blitz Fantasy Football content, hit that subscribe button, and us 3 will catch you guys next time.